Cover 3 Tailgate. And welcome back to the Cover 3 podcast here on CBS Sports. That's Tom Fornelli. That's Bud Elliott. I'm Chip Patterson coming to you live at youtube.com/cover3 and everywhere you get your podcasts on demand. Thanks for hanging out. Smash that subscribe, smash that like, and come and join us in the chat, a.k.a. the Cover 3 Tailgate, where it is rocking and rolling, and we will be taking questions because it is a Thursday. A day to get interactive. We've got business-wise, one of our favorite shows of the year, the unveiling, the discussion around the 2025 edition of the Blue Chip Ratio. Bud Elliott created the Blue Chip Ratio a long time ago. It has withstood the test of time. It has withstood the creation of a college football playoff, the expansion of said playoff, and now we are going to see what teams over the last 4 years have been recruiting at a level it takes to win it all. Not make the playoff, not win a conference title, but to win the national championship. Blue Chip Ratio 2025 coming up. We also have questions from the Big Old Bag Mail and from Spotify comments. We will get to those. But the tailgate, listen, Jeffrey at 8:49 a.m. Eastern time, he kind of set the table for a lot of the housekeeping that we needed to do anyway, in terms of, getting some stuff out of the way, looking ahead to the next. Jeffrey Shaw, 8:49 a.m. Eastern time, says, "Good morning, tailgate." Brought good vibes. He says, "Question. The SEC media days are in the books and no major storylines to speak of, really. So what storyline or storylines are you looking forward to learning the most at Big Ten Media Days when the Cover 3 podcast is live at Big Ten Media Days, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, all 3 days. Some of the biggest stars, coaches, and players stopping by to chop it up with us. We will bring you a show live on CBS Sports Network, 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern time, all 3 days. We will have even more content on the YouTube channel, more interviews happening outside that window. So, yesterday came and went. Not a lot of pop down there in the Southeastern Conference Media Days. And so Tom, I'll let you get first crack at this. What storyline do you think that will be a topic of conversation when we get to Las Vegas?
I mean, I think there'll be plenty of generic storylines, but I want to see, and I know I'll fail, but I tried last year. I'm going to try again this year. I'm going to see if Jerome Moore will name his starting quarterback with us on the desk when he's being interviewed on the show. Tried to get him to do it last year. He didn't bite, but maybe this year I'll use some more tricks and see if I can get him to say whether it's Bryce Underwood or if it will be Mikey Keene.
I think young quarterbacks, for sure. You have Julian Sayin, you have Dante Moore, as Tom mentioned, Bryce Underwood. Like, which of these coaches feels really, really good about their young quarterback? None of them are going to throw the kid under the bus, but I think the way they talk about them could be an interesting signal for what we'll see early in the season. And then I think the second one I'm thinking about is, like, which of these second tier in the Big Ten teams feels like it has a chance to really, step up again? Now, maybe that's Indiana doing it again. Maybe that's Tom's Illinois squad, but maybe it's Nebraska, right? Is Dylan Raiola going to take a big time step? Maybe they feel great. Maybe Iowa, now that they finally have a quarterback who I think is decent. So there's a lot of options there. USC, right? Like, USC is probably not a team we should consider a mid-tier Big Ten team, but so far in the standings, they certainly have been.
I think that's fair. I mean, Washington.
Yeah.
Throw them into the mix as well. Just another one of those teams that it is. We are so, I like that, Bud. We are so confident at the very top of this league, and I can't speak for you two, but to make me put in order, as we will do, we need to do another official Cover 3 poll.
We do.
As we are going to do.
We'll do it live at a craps table.
We have to put together an official order of finish. Like, sorting out 4 through 11 is tough.
Yeah, I feel like, there's obviously the big four, but even though Michigan's a question mark going in, but outside of those four, like, when it comes to be who's going to be the next best or who's going to be another, like, playoff, everybody talks about Indiana, Illinois, but I think there are legitimately 7 teams who could fill that role this year.
Yeah, and it's so funny because I might find myself using the phrase, who's going to be this year's Indiana? And I need to make it clear in advance. I am not talking about you having the best season in 60 years. Okay. I'm talking about at least being, the team that jumps up and joins that group at the top of the conference.
There is literally only one team in the Big Ten who could be this year's Indiana. Because Indiana last year was a team that hired a new coach who brought in an entire new roster. The only program in the Big Ten that fits that description this year is Purdue.
Yeah.
That is the only team eligible to be this year's Indiana.
Listen, if Purdue,
It's gonna be tough.
Be really careful about your word choice here. If Purdue makes the college football playoff, what?
In this season?
Yes.
Okay.
I will grow Danny's beard.
You will grow Danny's beard.
Yes.
Okay.
What would I do if Purdue makes the playoff this year? I will.
No, we're not going to do the solo cup. I mean, that's just not healthy. Okay. Things that are embarrassing, demeaning, okay, but it is just fundamentally not healthy. Bear Grylls can kick rocks. I don't believe any of that.
I don't know. I'll take some. We'll
take suggestions. We'll take suggestions throughout the show.
Huh. If Purdue makes the playoff this year, I think we should take every Purdue fan who can prove they were subscribed to the channel before today, and it's like an actual Purdue fan, out to dinner.
Oh. Or how about before? No, we use this as a subscribe drive. Purdue fan subscribed before the start of the season, who can prove that they were subscribed before the start of the season. We'll take this is like Dabo Sweeney
when actually a Purdue fan, not like, hey, I'm an Ohio State fan who happens to, because I like steak, right?
Right. And steak would be appropriate, right?
I don't think there's enough Purdue fans subscribed that we would bankrupt us to take them out for steak. But like, you guys deserve a steak if you get a playoff, a playoff appearance this year.
Yeah, it's like when Dabo Sweeney in 2015 said, well, heck, if we make the college football playoff, I'll have a pizza party in Death Valley. Then they made the college football playoff.
We're all Purdue fans today, right?
Oh, no. Okay. Loosely, no, thank you. Our attorney has said we haven't written anything down, but taking Purdue fans out for a steak dinner if they make the college football playoff in 2025 does sound like a great way for us to go.
If Purdue makes the playoff, I will shave my head and beard.
Oh, so
I'll be completely nude faced.
Is Lynn watching today?
No, she's not home.
Okay, so
don't worry, honey, it's not going to happen.
And while we're just sitting here on the topic, in anything else, I just, our friends Josh Payton, Cole Kubelik had they did like a very funny, like we're doing a mic check, but we're going to include it type clip. I don't know if you guys saw that.
No, is it good?
Yeah. Cole was like, "Welcome to SEC Media Days, where nothing happened." Back to you, Josh.
I mean, Thamel did the same thing this morning. I was like, okay. And now tweeting about Arch's khakis makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I didn't. I will say for our one of our two resident Knoll boys, Thomas Castellanos does not have a lot of meat on. He's a strong guy. He's not very big, but there were some violent defenders by the names of Tim Keenum and Deontay Lawson, who I believe the quote from one of them was, "Disrespect will be handled properly," because Thomas Castellanos, of course, taking shots at Alabama, saying they don't have Nick Saban to save them. An old and violent Alabama defense, or do we have our insurance policies shored up properly for our transfer quarterback in Tallahassee?
Man, he'd probably need it because like there's a chance the backup is true freshman Kevin Sperry because he runs around pretty well. So was
it Francois or Blackman who got put into the ground?
Francois got jacked up.
Yeah, because it was just, I mean, that was 2017, start of the season. Florida State's a top 5 team. Alabama's a top 5 team. And everything went downhill after their quarterback got knocked out of the game.
Not to get like super granular, but that probably doesn't happen if they call the really obvious PI on the touchdown that Francois, like a touchdown ball he threw like a play before.
Oh, man.
It was like, what? Like, I remember thinking two things from that game. One, man, the Wi-Fi in this Atlanta stadium is incredible. Two, like that non-PI call, like really kind of changed the game.
Yep.
And
or
of
the
course,
season and
yeah,
Jimbo
right.
Fisher's tenure, you know, like
That'd be a fun little thread to pull on, like the calls that changed the sport
right. Cause you know,
or
people,
non-calls.
yeah, people, I don't know if a lot of people remember that Tua Tagovailoa was running around like a chicken with his head cut off, taking a 16-yard sack right before he threw the national championship winner
Right.
to Devonta Smith against Georgia in the national championship game. Yeah, a lot of those sort of like the play before the play ways that things could have been different. Yeah, fun stuff. Maybe for a time when we don't have a lot to get to, like we will, I don't know, every single episode between here and February.
Castellano kind of backed off it quite a bit. There was that, like, he was
Coward.
training with Shador and Cam's QB trainer, and Isaiah Horton, who transferred from Miami to Bama, was there as well, and he didn't keep that same energy. He just like, look, I said it to get my guys fired up and instill some confidence in of a team that, you know, they went 2-10 and some other stuff. So, but like, do we think Bama's going to play harder because of this? It's the opening game of the year off a year where you're disappointed. Like, if both
Right.
teams aren't playing really hard, you got major issues.
Fair. I mean, there's like
maybe you
I don't
trash
think
talk
they'll
the
play
word they're
harder,
gonna
but I
play,
think
like,
that
you're hitting as hard as you can anyway.
I don't think they play harder, but I think maybe they play through the echo of the whistle more when it comes
That's
to being
probably
able
fair.
to take a shot on Castellanos.
Yeah.
like there's I
Yeah,
have
right.
not experienced that moment, but I hear from talking to athletes, you know, about the true flow state where everything slows down, and it's going to be when there's a blocking assignment missed, and one of those guys sees the C's part, get ready to charge on through at the Florida State quarterback. So
That's me
yeah,
on the golf course, just in a flow state.
no, it's not. You left your birdie putt short so you could tap in for 79. You were very in your head. Congrats to Tom on breaking 80.
Thank
So,
you.
still haven't. Okay. Coming up on the other side, you've been waiting. You've been asking for it for weeks. Blue Chip Ratio 2025 edition. We are going to be showing you the teams that have more than 50% of blue chip signed in the last 4 years. We're going to tell you really what it means, and as always, sort of take stock of where we are as college football continues to evolve. All that and more next.
Name's Conrad Harrigan, family man. And if you cross my family, well, you'd better pray.
Mobland, new series streaming March 30th on Paramount Plus.
Back here on the Cover 3 podcast, we do have a lot of tailgate questions that are blue chip ratio related. I want to let you know that we are going to be getting to those in a little bit. But first, we've got to go to the man himself, the creator, the founder of the blue chip ratio. So, Bud, just first, the intro here for those uninitiated, because I know that most of the tailgate has not only understood it, but has been asking about it. So just in general, blue chip ratio, what exactly we are talking about here, and what led you to create blue chip ratio?
Yeah, so a long time ago, back when I was at SB Nation, there were a lot of people who were like, hey, this team can win a natty, this team can win a natty, this team can. And I'm like, guys, I'm not trying to be a jerk here. But if you go to some of these recruiting camps, like, the bodies that the teams y'all are naming are not the same as the type of, like, the body types and the skill, the athleticism, like height, weight, speed, that the teams that actually will win it are recruiting. They're just different sized and skilled humans. So I was like, how do I quantify this in a way that, you know, could make sense, and like just a quick and dirty, easy thing for fans is what I hoped. And when I ended up, I was like, wow, you better be signing at least half of your prospects as 4 or 5 stars over a 4-year period out of high school, right? And those guys convert to NFL draft picks at a pretty high level. We know that 5 stars get drafted more than 60% of the time, right? It used to be that 4 stars got drafted about 20% of the time. Recruiting rankings have actually gotten a lot better. They actually get drafted about 25% of the time now. So the fact that, like, we insist on verified times, verified measurables, getting all the data you can, right? Like stuff like that, digital film, being able to pull up quite a bit of film on a kid, isolate for scenarios, depending on what kind of software you have, just watch it more, is so much better than it used to be. So recruiting rankings are more and more accurate. So this is getting more and more accurate over time. But like, it's still, we do still see the teams that are a little bit lower on this list, as long as they're meeting that minimum threshold, win it. This is not how to make the playoff, right? This is not like, let's use this to pick games. I've tested it. It doesn't work. This is not like who's going to win the conference. Although if you're in the SEC or the Big Ten and you're not on this list, very, very unlikely that it will happen. ACC and Big 12, a different story there. But
yeah, also because you have to go through those teams with more talent.
Mhm.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's also like, that's the main difference between making and winning the playoff. Like you can get there, but then you actually probably have to win a bunch of teams that have freak show body types on their team. So, yeah. Let me see some other thoughts. If you are on the lower half, traditionally you have needed, like you meet the threshold, but you're kind of at the bottom. You have traditionally needed to have a really, really good quarterback, like a first round guy. Deshaun Watson comes to mind the first time Clemson was around. McCarthy, who went, what JJ go, like 7th overall. Michigan was a little bit lower that year.
Mariota, I've always remembered you said
He almost busted it.
Mariota's Oregon team is one of the teams that if they had been able to beat Ohio State, they could have busted the blue chip ratio. But again, we're talking about if I remember correctly, before Burrow, Mariota was the most landslide Heisman winner, like truly one of the most dominant players in a single season that we had seen that year.
Exactly. It's very, now I've always thought like somebody will bust this. If we go to 16, man, I really don't think so, but maybe it'll happen. I think at some point, maybe it could. The other thing to note here is that I've studied, like, do I want to incorporate transfers into this or not? And my answer is no. At this point, I don't. We now have enough data to know at what rate 4 and 5 star transfers convert to NFL picks. And it's not anywhere close to the rate at which high school 4 and 5 star picks players convert to NFL picks. So you can get a lot of transfers that help your team be very good. But for the most part, your super elite players are not transfers. And even the ones that are, there's just not enough of them for you to gather and be like, yeah, we're going to make a really natty, like national title team out of transfers, So anyway, that's basically it, right? And the list is pretty.
Let's get to the list.
Like, I had to get to the paragraph and I was like, who am I going to put who could bust it this year? This is tough. And Brad Crawford wrote a kind of a supporting piece today on this. He's like, who do we pick for the non-list? But let's get to the list. All right. So Bama and Ohio State tied at the top. Georgia, Texas A&M, Oregon, Texas, LSU, Notre Dame, Oklahoma. All those teams are 70% plus, which is pretty amazing. Penn State 68, still really good. Miami 64, Florida 64, Auburn 64, Michigan, USC 57 a pop. I'm reading this. If you're watching on YouTube, we do have a big podcast audience, so that's helpful to read the graphic. And then obviously going back there to the end, we have 2 newcomers this year who welcome back to the list, the Noles and the Vols. And Clemson is there at 55%, which, people are picking them to win the national title. They certainly have a lot of top-line talent, and they do have Cade Klubnik, who some people think will be a top of the round or top of the draft quarterback. So this looks pretty solid to me. Now, coaching matters. Development matters. Health matters. Continuity, team chemistry, all that stuff matters. This is just kind of the starting point of like the absolute bare minimum you need to do in recruiting if you really want to take home the whole thing. Like, I don't think Oklahoma is going to win the national title. But if everything went right, could you tell me there's no chance? Like, they still play really good defense. Maybe Venables is hands off on the offense. Maybe Mateer is that dude. Maybe the offensive line clicks. Fasusi, the 5-star they signed, like maybe he's actually a Jonathan Ogden type immediately at left tackle, and the receivers are all healthy. Okay, like that kind of.
If Oklahoma wins the national title, Chip will shave his entire body.
Now we're getting this. This is. You know how itchy that's going to be for like the next 3 weeks?
It's going to be hell. That's Mm-hmm.
I do not agree to that, for the record. So Tom, what's your thought? What are some of your thoughts when you look at, especially at this first half of the list? Everybody's 70% and over.
I mean, there really isn't any surprises on the list. Like, I mean, when you pay attention to this stuff, it's like you kind of know who the schools are going to be, especially the ones at the top. It is somewhat interesting to me because it was like when Michigan won 2 years ago, their BCR was only like 53%. and they're only at 57%. So you think of how that program is, and you think of where it is in the sport, and then you look at its blue chip ratio compared to the other schools, and you kind of like, kind of strange that they're so low. And I think you could feel the same way about Clemson, because even when Clemson was winning national titles, they were still in the low 60s. Like,
Mm-hmm.
they were never really at the top. So I do think it is always interesting to look at this, and you see Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia at the top. Duh. But then you see Texas A&M, you see these other programs, you see Oklahoma that have really high BCRs, but they're just not winning at the level that you would think when you have that kind of talent. And we could talk about how now Oklahoma, well, they're in the SEC, but they weren't in the SEC until last year, and they were still really high. Texas was still really high, and it's one of those things where if you're a fan, it's where you want to be. But as Bud said, it's only part of it. You still need the other stuff.
And mm, okay, so let's do some. Actually, let's stop. So Texas A&M, Mike Elko's heading into year 2 as his head coach. The BCR looks at the last 4 years.
Correct.
So we are talking about some Jimbo Fisher recruiting. We are talking about a blue chip ratio that includes players, some of whom blue chips who aren't on the roster anymore. I totally understand. And look, on the story on CBSSports.com, Bud goes in and he runs the numbers again with transfers included. And it's the best response to people who say, what about transfers? Because the fact of the matter is the numbers don't change that much.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks that your rock star transfer class is going to change your blue chip ratio. It's not. It really is not. But what about the transfer out part of this? Like, how would you explain that, or how would you don't need to change that. I mean, I love the blue chip ratio, but I think that that's probably a part of Texas A&M's analysis, and then probably some other teams as well.
Totally. So the thing is, like, if you did a 1-for-1, like transfer in, transfer out, like, are you docking a team because they lost a former 4-star rated player? What if he got beat out by a 3-star? Like, that still indicates, like, hey, we initially gathered this much, raw athletic skill to our roster. What happens after that? I put more in like the development category and the retention and chemistry category. Like, sometimes guys get it, like sometimes programs get it wrong as to which guy to start, and the other guy goes elsewhere and transfers. I mean, look how many like Georgia and Bama edge rushers. And I'm not saying they all got it wrong. Sometimes they're just positionally blocked. So, are they less talented there? Potentially. I think if you start doing the transfer, like I've played with this a lot. It gets tricky because I want to like classify it as like meaningful transfer out. And then like I would be so subjective to be like, oh, well, okay, this guy I don't think matters that he transferred out, despite the fact he's a former 5-star, just because he's blowing lines up his nose, right? Like, but like that's it's so granular. Like that I think if you wanted to narrow it down more, you probably could, but I don't like, to me, that's too subjective year to year to do. Right. Personally, if I was going like a quick and dirty way, if I was going to incorporate transfers, I would basically just make all transfer 5 stars like 4.5 stars, and I would make all transfer 4 stars like 3.5 stars. Because like high school 4 and 5 stars are drafted at more than double the rate of transfers. So like they're really useful players, but they're not like your national championship difference makers, at least not in enough numbers. So the transfers thing is interesting. I think if you did it the right way, your transfer like if you the way like if you included transfers, the teams that take a lot of transfers, like they would have a massive haircut to their thing. If you did it that way, I just suggested there.
Let's go to the tailgate before we got going. Our friend Ryan, blue chip takeaways, Notre Dame and LSU with the same. It really is a chef's kiss. Brian Kelly going to a place where you can really compete for championships. He's got the same blue chip ratio at his new school as he does as his old school. That is, I would say, what, credit to Freeman, right?
Yeah, I think so. Like, so being able to pay guys legally, Notre Dame certainly has a lot of money, and I'm not saying Notre Dame never paid guys before, but if I had to do like a ranking of the teams on this list of 18 who most likely paid kids under the table and how much, I don't think they would have been in like the top half of this list before NIL was legal. So I think that helps quite a bit. But also like Marcus Freeman is recruiting really well, and like If I had to bet, like, will the Irish win another natty in my lifetime? I think I would.
This one is a little bit more of a big picture one. Love the show, guys. Question: do the year-over-year trends in blue chip ratio data support the common perception that talent is spreading out across teams and leagues?
So yes and no. Yes, in that you're not seeing some of the top teams continue to climb at the same rate. Like, nobody's up there, hey guys, we're 95%. Like, the only player we don't take who's a blue chip is a kicker or punter. But I think it is largely spread out more among the teams that have always either been there or who have been sniffing around. Like, 18 is the most we've ever had. We've had like 16 and 17 before, as far as number of teams who have reached this. We are seeing a bit of a pull away, though, among these teams. And then South Carolina and Ole Miss are close. So the Big Ten right now has 5 in this list. The SEC has 9. The only 2 even remotely close to knocking on the door are also, SEC. After that, like, I don't think any team is 4 years away from this. Except one. If Texas Tech continues to spend like this, and I've argued the Big 12 probably needs them, that could give the Big 12 like a team with legitimate, like, natty talent up and down its roster. Now they're having to spend, I saw estimates like 20 or 30% more on a player to get him to go to Lubbock, but hey, it takes what it takes, right? But that could certainly change things. I think if I'm the ACC, I take this data and say, hey, guys, we have 3. Okay. Now my Noles are not really making that look real great right now, but y'all have 0.
Mm-hmm.
And y'all have like you're not only you're not in the building, like, you're not in the line on the sidewalk. Like, you guys got the 0 Big 12. Why in the hell would we agree to 2 automatic bids for us and 2 automatic bids for you? Like, you guys should fight for the G5 bid. And because, like, if for the playoff purposes, we're actually talking about teams that probably can actually win the thing if they get there. We shouldn't have the same number as y'all. But Phillips has not really done that, apparently.
Who is the highest ranked team in the Big 12 on this right now?
Let me see here. Sorry, my keyboard is weird today because I had to move it.
Yes, it's SMU or TC, or that's not TCU or
it is TCU.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and they're in the 20s.
20s?
I'm telling you, there's no Big 12 team that's like 3 really awesome classes away.
Okay, so who's close?
Just South Carolina and Ole Miss. Like, I think Nebraska could be 3 banger classes away, but that's really it right
now. Garrett said, did Bud steal the blue chip ratio from College Football 25? Garrett, you know better. Bud was in the building giving them blue chip ratio.
Oh, man.
He was a consultant on isn't your name on the credits?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just thought it'd be cool to show the boys, like, they're too young to, like, understand that, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's why Rihanna's doing the Smurf movie, and it's why Bud did the video game, just so the kids could see it.
That's right.
Watch Smurfs in theaters only in July. Check out Smurfs. Yeah, there was a commentary about how I should have, blue chip. I should have been dressed like a Smurf. I should have been dressed like a Blue Man Group. That's very creative. But on a week where Moise Keane's release clause deadline passed, and he reaffirmed his commitment to starting the campaign in Florence, I had to rep the viola.
There was a very awkward pause there for a second, Chip.
With Blue Man?
No, you said there was some thought that I should have blue chip. And then you paused for a second. I was going to be like, we got some Marilyn Manson action going on over here.
Yeah. Okay, so this is an interesting one. Ian, let's talk about Auburn and its 64% blue chip ratio and where they have been the last couple of seasons.
Ian's got time, by the way. Let's look at, for the podcast listeners at home, Ian's avatar is a big Georgia logo and then some text underneath it that I can't. Can you guys read that?
I'm guessing that meme is just, it's like me before Georgia game, and then it's like me being tortured, and then afterwards me being happy.
But
that's usually what that meme is.
I understand he's trying to throw some shade at one of their many rivals, but this is something that stands out because this is a program that has not achieved 7 wins in a season since 2019. And Gus Malzahn was the coach.
Who
Wander in the desert.
Okay, for these teams that we look at as underachievers, I think we're going to very quickly identify either coach or quarterback problems for the most part. A&M, who's the best quarterback that A&M has had since Jimbo started recruiting there?
All the A&M quarterbacks are elsewhere right now. They
Well,
started
okay.
Kentucky. They
We're
started
gonna notice,
Houston.
We're going to notice a trend here.
You know, like
But also, like Kentucky and Houston are not exactly teams that are threatening for
competing for national titles.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so A&M has not been able to get quarterback right, really, at all. Auburn, Bo Nix, young Bo Nix, right? And then he transferred to Oregon. Bo Nix finally got okay the 1 year that Auburn was really kind of around him, and then he left.
It was finally the year we got things together. I think he's going to make a Heisman run.
Yeah. And then
Why didn't we have any of those at the SEC Media Days?
who has Miami had at quarterback?
I don't know.
Before Cam?
Well, the guy,
Cam?
I guess Cam Ward did go 1 overall, but
Yeah.
They had some very overrated guys. I remember Brad Kai as a freshman. I was like, they finally got one. And then he actually got worse. He never improved.
When you look at this, like Florida State has not had quarterback right Jordan Travis, but they didn't have the recruiting right around him when he was there.
Yeah. Jordan and the Jordan Travis looks like it was just one of those right place, right, because the guy had a 5-6 year college career.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Then woo, kind of take off in the jet stream before the awful injury near the end. All right, let's see.
Of this list, who would you say, Tom's reaction to Oklahoma was basically we're going to make Chip shave his entire body.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not we're going to sacrifice Chip down a mine shaft. We're not going at
we're going to make him itchy.
Who else would we classify as, if this happens, we're shaving one of the co-hosts full body?
Auburn.
USC would surprise me pretty good. Auburn, yeah.
I mean, I think Tennessee this year, I would be very, very, very shocked.
I would
if
too.
they were able to win a national title.
Because I don't think Joey Aguilar is special.
No.
And if you're at the bottom, I do kind of think quarterback's pretty important.
I think I'm not picking him, and I was talking about this the other day. I do think a playoff berth is still within the realm of possibility for Tennessee this year.
Absolutely.
But getting to the title game and winning it is just a non-zero or just a 0% chance to me.
It does speak to how much Tennessee has upgraded the roster, that in what we are projecting as a down year, a playoff berth is still within the reasonable realm of possibility after losing your 2-year starting quarterback.
So this is a question from the mailbag that came in through Spotify comments. Spencer says, Spotify 5-star mailbag question. Bud, we know about the blue chip ratio to win a national championship. What would be your playoff ratio? The amount of 4- and 5-star talent that you need to make the playoffs. And he says, parentheses, as an at-large, also offers a Tom ILL. And I don't know if there's an answer to that, but as we were thinking about shaving our bodies into, the appearance of a naked mole rat, I was looking at every one of those teams and I was like, I could see them making the playoff, and then roll the balls out, see what happens. Like you said, Tom, I could see Tennessee making the playoff.
In the SEC, I would say 40.
Did Indiana have a 0% blue chip last year?
No, they're so low that I'll start filling out the data more on them.
That's what I'm saying. How many 4 stars and 5 stars were on that roster that they recruited?
Right. I think in the Big Ten, it's because the top Big Ten teams, I do think, are legitimately just as good as the top SEC teams, at least over the past few years. But the teams 5 through 10, I think are worse. Maybe not by as much as everybody assumes. The SEC doesn't have 10 natty contenders, right? They're going to have stuff go wrong. I think there's some stuff that's not fully being captured by the data that is in some conferences that account for some of maybe the smaller gaps than some of the data suggests. But yeah, in the Big Ten, it's probably Shoot, I mean,
10%?
Chuck in the chat, and I know Chuck pretty well. He said Indiana was 10% last year.
Yeah.
So, is this the Kelly Ford?
Probably so.
Probably. Shout out to
Although, I don't
Kelly.
know, like, this guy thinks there's 2 Bud Elliots in college football media. So that's
All right, so Kelly says, Bud, great work as always. Any consideration to changing the blue chip ratio formula from a 4-year cycle to a shorter window? He says maybe 3 with how rosters are constructed now. Enjoyed the article.
I have played around with this actually. It's one of like the transfer thing. The data I have, I'm like, absolutely not like that. These transfers are not nearly as good as the high school guys. At least not the upside of them. This you can do, and I have considered like going back, refitting it, and it works.
Like it doesn't all of a sudden.
It's not quite as good it's not quite as good historically, but
when you back test it,
it does work.
Yeah, cool.
I have thought about changing it. Yeah,
and Kelly, like, great work to you too. I appreciate
Kelly's fun, man.
Kelly does fantastic work. So would appreciate we appreciate you being a fan of us. We are a fan of you as well. All right. Any other? So we've gotten the South Carolina and Ole Miss are the teams that are just outside and could be knocking on the door. You could certainly see, with quarterback and transfers, there's ways that you could see it come together, though they do have to navigate the torrential Southeastern Conference schedule that lies ahead of them. Any other blue chip ratio related stuff?
I mean, I think South Carolina and Ole Miss probably should get there next year. Do we think South Carolina or Ole Miss, like, are those quarterbacks good enough to do this thing?
Austin Simmons could be.
And Sellers?
I know Sellers is good enough, but I think that the combination of coach, quarterback, supporting cast, I don't know. I could see Ole Miss.
South Carolina is my dark horse, so of course I feel that way.
Did South Carolina get the headline on the complimentary piece of teams that could break the blue chip ratio?
Yeah. So I mean, we were kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel. We're like South Carolina. Well, actually, I don't know about the headline. let me check. I mean, they probably should, right? I would think, but yeah. Is it published yet? I don't know. I don't have CMS.
It is published.
I don't have CMS login, so I can only see if it's been tweeted.
Yeah, it's up on the site.
Okay. The headline, let's see. Does the headline have South Carolina? No, it doesn't. It says these 18 college football teams can actually win the national championship. South Carolina is in the story.
Nice. Okay. Which position group is the least important to have blue chip guys at?
Kicker.
I mean, well, like, those are specialists.
Yeah, I mean, the Nick Saban, what was it? There was a Nick Saban Alabama team that was running at 96%, and the only 96% was because the long snapper was a 3-star or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. I would say probably like your non-premium positions that can be filled with just kind of glue guys at times.
Yeah.
Tight end would certainly be one. I kind of think running back, but there's no college team winning a title that doesn't have like stud run. And they're not always winning it because of the running back, but like, can you point me to very many titles? Like,
who's winning a title with a running back that is slow and weak?
Right, exactly. Yeah, like it's just kind of
Yeah, there's some certain hard yards that need to be gained out there. Anyway, CBSSports.com is where you can go check out the full blue chip ratio. It is up there for you. We appreciate everybody. They've been asking for it. We are pleased to deliver. Coming up on the other side.
One more. Andrew says, hey, Bud, transfer portal players have their ratings reevaluated, correct? But does that factor into the blue chip ratio? So I do not put any transfers in the actual blue chip ratio.
Right.
The one that I put out that does have transfers in, I use their new transfer grades. Right. So far, it doesn't make the thing more accurate. So, and like, again, Oregon added a bunch of high-end portal players, but I doubt most were 4 and 5 stars. Well, I mean, you could say they're high-end portal players, but so far, the draft rate of 4 and 5 portal players is not anywhere close to the draft rate of 4 and 5 high school guys. 4 and 5 high school guys are better outcomes on average as far as the top end. Now, you might argue that the portal guys have a higher floor because we've at least seen what they can do, and that I buy. But
Yep.
you're not winning the Natty with floor; you're winning the Natty with ceiling, and that's really the purpose of this.
Yep. All right. Coming up on the other side, your questions, our answers, and more next.
Get ready.
Wait a second. I thought we were going tubing.
All 3 Sonic the Hedgehog movies and Knuckles are now streaming on Paramount Plus.
And everyone loves it.
Every adventure,
Just try to keep up.
every face-off,
This ends now.
and every moment that will have you saying,
Where have you been? My entire life!
It's showtime.
all 3 Sonic the Hedgehog movies and the entire Sonic universe are now streaming on Paramount Plus.
Back here on the Cover 3 podcast. This time, we love to be able to hear from you with some questions and answers. Where does the term blue chip come from? Brett asks.
The movie, right?
I thought it was stock related.
No, it's the stocks. But yeah, no, I would definitely go. It's the movie starring Nick Nolte, Shaquille O'Neal,
Shaq,
Anthony
Jimmy.
Hardaway. A great movie. I don't know, like a lot of
Why
our
do they
younger
decide to
listeners.
call it blue chips.
Hmm?
The blue chip stocks.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it goes back to stocks. But for our younger watchers and viewers who maybe never saw the movie, if you can find blue chips, go watch it. It's a great movie.
Also, it could come from poker, where the blue colored chips typically hold the highest value at the table, more than red, white, or other colors. I'm good with either. That's fine.
Clemson down to a 55% is also eye-opening. That's like a 20% drop in a few years.
Yeah. So Clemson. One thing with Clemson is they have taken a few more kids in recent years than they were doing. That 22 class only had 10 out of 20, so they're 50% there. And then 24 also had a fairly low number of top end kids. Clemson's very Big Ten to me. Their hit rate is very high. They really win with culture quite a bit and retention. I mean, how many guys leave Clemson who Clemson really doesn't want them to leave? Not a ton, and they do a nice job of developing guys. It does impact their depth. Like I do think, like, if you get injuries, I don't think Clemson's 2s and 3s are as good as like an Ohio State or Alabama.
I'd also point out to Ryan that in 2016 and 2018, when Clemson won national titles, their BCR was 52% and 61%. So it's not that far off.
Well, the 2015 team did not have Dexter Lawrence, and the rest of the Dexter Lawrence class also had some studs in it. So that sort of started to change a little bit. By the
We
time
can take the Justin Davis question if you want. The quality of 4 stars varies greatly.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Wrong question. Come on. Get
So
better.
you would think so, but actually, there's not a huge difference, like 1 to 400 in terms of draft rate for recruited prospects. Like the guys who do this, and I think Ivan's leads an awesome team, and got a lot of respect for all the evaluators out there. Like that, you see them every weekend. I think they're increasingly using data better, and like obviously they're still pounding the pavement, but they're better at bucketing. Like, hey, these certain guys do stand out as 5 stars or really, really close to it, and then like these next couple hundred are kind of different. And then there's like another big bucket. But within that, like, you're not seeing a massive difference in draft rate between like, 210 and like 380. Yeah. If you think you can get that granular with it, I mean, some college teams tell you they can. I don't think that they can over a long period of time.
Yep. All right. This question goes, let's throw it back to the big old bag of mail. While we were talking about the SEC, figured we'd go ahead and get this one out. So there is, of course, a lot of hot seat conversation. And while we have Oklahoma as a blue chip ratio team, there is the very true reality that Brent Venables is on the hot seat. So Spotify comments, Nick jumped in and says, my question for the group comes from the assumption that Brent Venables is fired after this season at Oklahoma. Who do you guys see as realistic options to be the next lead guy, and maybe one not likely candidate as well? Love the show as you help me through all of my shifts at work. Well, thank you for listening, Nick. We are glad we were able to provide a little work along entertainment for you. So yeah, we're just we're firing Brent. Game one ain't even here. We're firing Brent Venables. What does the hot board look like for Oklahoma if when it comes to potential replacements for Brent Venables?
I bet you it's somebody from the NFL.
Wow, I like that. Fast answer. Now, among the different factors here, we know Joe Castiglione has announced his impending retirement. They have to announce their next athletic director first. So he's just going to hang on until the search is done, probably help out with some kind of transition. Wow, that was a really fast answer. I want to hear more if you don't mind.
Nagy.
Jim Nagy, and then
the general manager.
I forgot the guy's name, but like there is another guy advising Oklahoma right now who's like, I think some are really high on it, some are not, but like very like, hey, let's try a very NFL approach here. So I would not be shocked to see them go with an NFL guy.
Well, assuming Nick Saban doesn't come back and take the job, I don't know. They're obviously there's like
the Eagles. I don't know. Sorry.
Yeah, maybe. It's like Big Dom's gonna come and take over Oklahoma. But like just looking at the coaches now, John Summerall's a name that gets mentioned. If he has another excellent year at Tulane, you would have to think that that's a name that Oklahoma could be interested in. I don't know if there's like a clear-cut favorite to take the job. I think there'll be a lot of coaches interested in it, and I think they'll have the money to spend. I think there won't be a shortage of candidates. It's just going to be what are they looking for, and I don't know.
They also have a pretty decent young roster.
Mm-hmm.
If they suck again, I think you're like, all right, Venables is a must champ. Let's get him out of here. Let's get somebody who can coach at a head coach level. Venables is obviously an awesome DC, and we don't know how Venables is as a head. Like I think it's probably too early to say thumbs up or thumbs down on Venables, the head coach. But yeah,
are you okay to get sloppy?
Let's do it.
What's a better job, Oklahoma or Tennessee?
I think Tennessee.
I think they're about equal.
I think so too. Now, Josh,
I trust. Like, what are the odds that Oklahoma makes a better athletic director hire than what Tennessee has?
Not great, because Tennessee's got a pretty good one.
Exactly. Like, I think stability, NIL, all that stuff's better at Tennessee.
Also, like, isn't there some bad blood between Heupel and Oklahoma?
Yes. I was just about to follow that up. If we remember the emotional, all of the emotions going into that game last year, the scenes in the locker room afterwards, there are reasons to believe that Josh Heupel has no interest in any kind of, wandering son comes home type storyline there. And also, like, in this era, in the post Scott Frost era, I don't know, coaches might be scared off by that. Not everybody's Scott Frost, but at least something to think of.
If Deion wins this year at Colorado, but I just don't think Oklahoma would put up. I can't really say that because he's missing because of health. Put up's not the right word. I don't think Oklahoma would accept the risk that Deion wouldn't be there to recruit on campus. Like, I think there's just certain things you can get away with at a Colorado level job that you can't at, the expectations are very different.
Would Lincoln come back?
No, they would. No,
Tebow?
I don't think so.
There's no way Tebow is coming back to Norman, or they would want him back. That would, it would be hilarious, I think, for us.
So funny.
But yeah.
Kingsbury?
I've
got one more in my back pocket that would just like break the hearts of literally millions. But I don't know.
If Kingsbury came back and it was like Nagy and company were in charge of putting together the roster and the recruiting and all that kind of stuff, and Cliff was able to just kind of be Cliff and put together offense, that could work. That could be something along the lines of what they might want to do.
Because I think that no matter what happens, my starting point is going to be your tale as old as time. We hired a must champ. We got to get an offensive coach.
Mm-hmm.
What about an offensive coach who is a absolute gamer when it comes to setting up his offenses, but has also proven to be a capable head coach? You would just need him to leave his alma mater and his hometown to come to Norman. What about Jeff Brom? I think Jeff Brom would kill it at Oklahoma.
Yeah, I do too.
I just don't know if he'd want to.
I don't know if he'd want to either.
When you said leave his alma mater and offensive coach, I was thinking Dillingham.
Ooh.
I mean,
Man, we are. The thing about this game is Oklahoma's a good enough job that we're not exciting Oklahoma fans. We are just terrifying fans of all these other fan bases who are thinking about what they would have to do as a university to be able to hold on to their coach if Oklahoma comes calling.
who are like Oklahoma fans pining for, do you think?
I think they're mostly pining for Venables to succeed.
To work. Yeah.
But, yeah.
It's like I haven't seen any coaching hot lists on Oklahoma message boards yet, but I wonder how much longer until we start seeing them show up.
The Michigan game. We'll see. Okay. This is a fun one from the comments. It's some cover 3 trivia. Do you guys want to play? You want to play this game?
Let's do it.
Do you want to play a game? All right, trivia time. So, trivia time. Oh, trivia time. That's right, because that's from our Quinn in the Spotify comment says trivia time is taken. Of course, Ion College Basketball Podcast. Shout out to them. But how about gridiron guesses or football fact off? Anywho, fact off. That sounds
we're gonna get in trouble at some point.
Don't worry, Quinn. We'll workshop something. Okay. What was the first team in college football history to have 3 1,000-yard rushers in the same season? One team had 3 1,000-yard rushers in the same season. I have 2 hints that he offered.
Was it Nebraska?
Nope. Tell me when you want your first hint.
Wait.
I mean, I'm thinking it had to be an option team.
Did you say what year?
No, that's one of the hints.
Oh. And so all we have is, can you name the team that had 3,000-yard rushers in one year?
The first team.
Oh, the first team
in college football history to have 3 1,000-yard rushers. Hint number 1, their head coach at the time was already a member of the College Football Hall of Fame.
Oh.
Hint number 2, the year was 2009.
Okay, so I'm just kind of going.
I was thinking it would be before then.
3 1,000-yard rushers. Your option lean is close. This is just a chip hint. Your option lean is close, but not. It is an option type offense, but a little with a twist.
Are we shooting close to the target?
We are shooting close to the target.
All right. I was trying to think of like really old guys. I first thought Arkansas, but obviously Houston Nutt.
Was it West Virginia?
But who would be the coach?
Oh no, Rich Rod wasn't in the Hall of Fame. Okay. So I was thinking maybe
I've seen it twice in the tailgate already. They're starting to get it. Do you want to hear?
I'm not looking. No, I want to try to figure this out.
Okay.
Coach was already in the Hall of Fame.
It was 2009.
I didn't get it on my own. Somebody in the chat got it. Now it makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Especially when we're shooting close to the target. Yeah.
Okay, who was it?
Nevada. In 2009, Nevada quarterback Colin Kaepernick ran for 1,183 yards. In 2009, Nevada running back Vi Tua ran for 1,345 yards. And in 2009, Nevada running back Luke Lippincott ran for 1,034 yards.
Who could have forget Luke Lippincott?
The pistol, the famous pistol formation from the Nevada Wolfpack back in the day. Nevada, a spoiler to one of many Boise State Chris Peterson teams that we thought were going to wreck the BCS. I can't remember if '09 was one of those particular spoiler years, but in 2009, the Nevada Wolfpack offense produced 3 1,000-yard rushers. Chris Alt, of course, being the head coach of that team.
I do remember Vitua, and I definitely remember Kaepernick, but I genuinely don't remember Luke.
Luke Lippincott.
I don't-
Oh,
I'm sorry,
no.
Luke. I'm sorry.
Oh man, this is Luke Lippincott, man. We're sorry, dog. One hell of a wolf pack, 2 words. Luke Lippincott. All right, this was let's have a little fun in our final minutes here together. Bud, do you have a Bojangles order? Because before we got started here, HJ in the tailgate, 9:38 a.m. said, "Hey Chip, what is your Bojangles order?" I'll give you mine, but I know you've spent enough time in the Carolinas that you are familiar. Tom, feel free to jump in as well.
Yeah, so I've never been there when it wasn't breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
So it's usually like one of the biscuits with something on it, right? Like,
Right.
And that thing, it slaps. It's really, really good. But I'm wondering, like, am I dumb for not having, like, they also make like fried chicken, right? Like,
Correct.
yeah.
It's good fried chicken.
So that I haven't had. So I'm only limited to the breakfast menu, but typically one of the breakfast biscuits.
Well, buckle up, buddy, and get ready for me to blow your mind, because my Bojangles order is the best of both worlds. Because if you order a Cajun filet biscuit and add both egg and cheese, you have found your way into getting both the fried chicken and the egg and cheese biscuit all on one sandwich. So the Cajun filet biscuit with egg and cheese is my Bojangles order. Additionally,
Is that so big that you feel like you're going to need a nap
I was
afterwards?
going to say, additionally,
Do we get this on a road trip, or is this just like, that's a passenger order, not a driver order.
The only time I had Bojangles was breakfast, and I had the Southern gravy one.
Yeah.
Okay.
The sides are pretty good, dirty rice and the like. It's no free ads, but it will at least answer listener questions, especially here in our 58th minute of the podcast. Let's see. We'll do Chalk Donkeys maybe as its own episode. Remember, the opposite of Dark Horse. Chalk Donkeys probably coming on a mailbag episode soon, but not next week, because next week it is nothing but content. Because once again, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, the Cover 3 podcast will be live from Las Vegas as we give you coverage from Big Ten Media Days, previewing the upcoming season. We are scheduled to have visits from some of the biggest names in the conference, whether it's the coaches or the players. We are fired up for it. Our friends at the Big Ten have been great to us, helping set us up with nice little desk, good group of guests, and now we're just ready to get out there and bring it to you. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you can watch the coverage live on CBS Sports Network from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern time. And of course, if you're subscribed on YouTube, if you're subscribed on the podcast, we'll be bringing you all that coverage as well. And you can follow him on Twitter at Tom Fornelli. You can follow him at Bud Elliott 3. You can follow me at Chip_Patterson. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Happy birthday, Malcolm.